Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. I may be the AH in this, but I can justify my actions. I did what I could do, and I thought this is the best way out of this. It will sound selfish, but screw it. I am selfish. No one wants to listen to my excuses, or in any way I can prove that I had no choice. But my family has completely cut me off and is not going to have any of my crap because they think what I did was completely betraying my whole family. Okay, I will admit it. I was in love with my sister's fiance since the day she brought him home to introduce him to us. And it wasn't just me, I always had a feeling that he liked me back too, but dismissed it as just another episode of me thinking my daydreams are true. So I just brushed it off. But turns out he was actually in love with me and never even cared that much about my sister. Okay, so here's what exactly happened. My sister got divorced from her previous husband because he cheated on her, not just once, but many times. So after trying to save their marriage and giving him chances after chances, she decided that she no longer wanted to be with him, and they called it quits. She was really depressed over it, and I saw it myself, how painful it was for her to move on from it because my sister doesn't get attached to a lot of people. But when she does, just know she is not recovering anytime soon after detaching from them. She was 35 and single again. She felt like a loser when it all ended, and I could honestly never forget how broken she looked. And after almost a year, she met this really nice guy. Let's call him Justin. He's like Jack from Titanic. He has this dream pixie look on him, and he is the most handsome guy I have ever seen in my life. They started dating, then started being in a relationship, and then finally got engaged. It all happened in the span of 3 years. And this whole time, ever since the day he came over for dinner to our house, I have been in love with him. He's 33 and I'm 30, so we did get along pretty well. My sister and him were like polar opposite people. They had nothing in common, and he and me just got along pretty well. When I first met him, I had a boyfriend, but we soon broke up, and Justin took care of me. He got me chocolates, ice creams, and watched movies with me till I would cry my eyes out. My sister would be with us, so no, it wasn't really awkward. I didn't even know when I started falling for him. At first, I just thought I was swooning over him because he's doing everything that I would ever expect from a guy. But falling for him was never in my mind and wouldn't have either, at least consciously. I love my sister. She has always been there for me. So if I made a move on him and ruined things, I knew I wouldn't be able to do that. But I was also in love with him. I couldn't tell any of these to anyone because I didn't want to be judged. And then me and Justin started texting often. It wasn't regular. The conversations were small and they were cute. He would text things like, "How was my broken heart doing?" And that would make me feel special. But then after my daydreaming session, I would come back to earth and remind myself that he belonged to my very own sister. But then again, feelings can't be ignored, so I kept on loving him from a distance and never made a move on him. I could feel the attraction between us, but never made a move, nor did he. I didn't expect him to, honestly. Like, that would be cheating on my sister, and she has gone through enough of cheaters in her life. I wanted to have her own happy ending with this, and for me, I knew I will always regret not trying for what I want, not trying for him, but my hands were tied. And if I would have put my desires first, I knew what the consequences would be. I know I am the bad guy. No matter how I think about it, I am the bad guy. I literally broke the whole universal rule of not going for your sister's ex. In fact, I went for someone she was one day away from getting married to. Yeah, that's what happened, in fact. Okay, so here is the point. I may be over blaming myself for it. It was him who made the first move. I was really depressed the night before the wedding because the guy I loved was getting married to someone else. So I went to my room, drank a lot, and tried falling asleep. I didn't get drunk, but I was tipsy. So I just lay there, closing my eyes, and then I heard someone come in. And he probably thought I was asleep. So he sat near me, and from the voice, I could recognize it was Justin. I wanted to tell him that he was in the wrong room, but no luck. I was in no condition to bat an eyelash, let alone speak. He then held my hands and started telling how he loved me and always has since we started watching movies together. I thought I was dreaming, but the way he kissed me felt real, and then I don't remember anything. The next day, when I woke up and everyone was preparing for the wedding, that was scheduled for the evening. I immediately went to him and asked if he was there in my room yesterday. He said no at first, then when I started crying because of the frustration, he said he was there and told me everything, and this time I made sure to tell him that I loved him as well. He was surprised because he thought I wouldn't have because of my sister and his relationship. Then I explained to him about the whole situation and how circumstances have always been for me. He got a little annoyed and asked why I never said anything before. Well, of course, it would have been legit to tell my sister's fiance that I was in love with him, and it would have been acceptable by everyone. We kissed again, our official first kiss. Then he asked me if he should call off the wedding because he doesn't want to be married to my sister. I had a plan. I made him book a flight and leave, and then later I could follow him as well. And he did. The wedding got cancelled, and I was caught talking to him over the phone by my mother, and the whole thing is a mess right now. I am kicked out of the house because my sister thinks I'm pathetic. I'm living with a friend who also thinks I'm pathetic because if I could do this to my sister, then I would try doing it to her as well. All my friends think I'm pathetic, so I will be catching tomorrow's flight and going where my I don't even know what we are is. Yeah, got myself into this mess. I have nowhere to go for support. I know that I'm pathetic. No need to keep telling me those names over and over again. For one guy, I lost my sister, family, friends, and even my cat. I should have just not confronted him for the rest of my life and should have gotten over it by pretending. Or maybe it is his fault that I ended up in this mess in the first place. So I am tired of everything, tossing blame on others while I am the one at fault in this. Sucks to be me right now. I will move tomorrow and be with Justin. Then together we will think about our next steps together. 1 month update. Okay, the next day after making this post, I moved with Justin. We had friends there who were a lot more understanding than mine. They let us stay with them for a while till we were able to get our own place, and life has been 10 times hard for both of us to deal with. And to be really honest, it doesn't matter to me. He really loves me. Even in those hard times, he makes sure to make me feel good about myself and is willing to assure me with as much assurance I would need. And that's what really matters. I know I broke rules of feminism for it, but the heart wants what it wants. I'm sorry, I do watch a lot of TV these days because that is really a nice escape. I feel better about the whole thing. Look, I'm not defending my actions, nor am I saying that I was correct either, but they should have understood me more. Everyone knew me and Justin looked better together, but whatever. It no longer matters to me because it is what it is. I will take responsibility for my actions, and I have no information about my sister and everyone around them. So maybe next time. 1.5 year update. Okay, a really long time has passed since then, and a lot has improved in our lives. My husband, yeah, we got married soon after that, and I visited our family and tried making amends with them, but my sister wants us to be cut off, and that's okay with me. I did my part of apology, and I have nothing else for her. I fought for my love and the person I love. That is the decision I made, and I'm not backing off on it anyways. She said she held no grudges but didn't want me around. So, yeah, we don't speak, nor do I want to speak with her or the whole family because I no longer care about it. I'm okay with being the bad guy as long as I have my husband by my side. Yes, your negative comments don't affect me in any way either. We are also having a baby, which is great news. We both got stable jobs and even have our own place now. It's never wrong with the right person. I do wish we would have fallen in love over different circumstances, but whatever plans God makes are the best. OP, you may be a good person, but a really horrible sister. She was cheated on for her whole life by men. Now she had to go through it because of her own sister. Well, honestly, don't bother her anymore. Could have just not posted about it honestly. Save yourself the humiliation and delete the post. Your actions would be judged, and no matter how happy you are, you will always be judged for everything. Yeah, YTA, a big one. I'm a 42-year-old female, married my husband, 43, 11 years ago. I have 2 stepkids. 16 female and 13 NB. I'm incredibly close to both of them, and there aren't enough characters allowed in these posts for me to accurately state how much I love them. My stepkid's mom died tragically and unexpectedly 2 weeks ago due to circumstances that I'm not entirely sure I'm allowed to include in this post. She had her issues, no doubt, but for all her faults, she loved her kids and did her best with them. Both my stepkids are obviously struggling to cope with the shock of this, and my husband and I are doing all we can to help them process everything. Next weekend would have been their mom's birthday. This is obviously going to be an emotional weekend. The first events without a loved one are always hard, and this one is so close to her death, which just makes it even harder. I had originally planned a girls' trip with some old friends from college for that weekend. Obviously, when we were making the arrangements, there was no reason to believe this would have been an issue. The kids would have been with their mom, my husband would have had the house to himself, and I would have had a fun trip with some people I haven't seen in a while. However, a little over a week ago, I made the decision that I needed to back out of the trip to be with the kids. They never asked me to do this, but they both said they were happy I was going to be around for the birthday weekend. I didn't think it would be that big of a deal. This was not a super extravagant trip. It's literally just 2 nights in our old college town together. No one needs to fly or take off work. I offered to still pay for my portion of the Airbnb, which is under my name, and said that I would have to transfer some other reservations made under my name to someone else. The group chat got quiet for a while, and then people started railing into me. Apparently, some of the activities we were planning have required amounts of people, and with me gone, they'll have to cancel them and scramble to figure out something else to do. I also have worked at most restaurants in our college town during my time there and still have connections that tend to get us discounts, free drinks, etc. And now, without me, that might not be possible. The consensus seems to be that I'm desperate to take over the mom role, and am screwing over the whole group to play mom with 2 kids that will never be mine. Actual quotes. I told them that I wasn't budging, and we could either reschedule or they could do it without me. They refused to reschedule, so I said if no one takes over the Airbnb reservation, I was just canceling it. 2 people in the group chat blocked me, and most other people fell silent. One person called and said I'm an AH for going nuclear, just because people didn't want to accommodate me. I know this is a complicated situation. I feel bad that things couldn't work out like we planned, but my stepkids are more important to me than a trip. NTA, damn, you ran with some messed up girls in college. From the info, you're clearly NTA, but you kept terrible company. They all sound straight up awful. OP, repeat this to them. If that is what you truly believe, this is the last you will hear from me. They are using you for your connections, discount, headcount, etc. I think you are doing the right thing and have officially outgrown these people who are trying to relive their college days. As for the kids, it may be beneficial if you communicate to them that you can never replace their mom and that you are not trying to, but you will always be there for them when they need you. NTA a million times over. I'm a 19-year-old female and I'm pregnant with my ex's, 22, baby. We are on good terms, and when the baby is born, we will have 50-50 custody. 2 weeks ago, I moved into my sister, 35, and brother-in-law's, 37, house. My sister and brother-in-law practically begged me to move in with them because they wanted to experience being pregnant. My sister is infertile. Living with my sister and brother-in-law has been very stressful. They are always on top of me about my eating habits and are always around me, especially brother-in-law. Brother-in-law insists that I think of him as the baby's father. It's really annoying because when my baby's actual father is around, he feels the need to always one-up him. One time, when one of my sister's friends came over, he talked about the baby as if it was his. Yesterday, my other sister was hosting a family dinner at her house, and brother-in-law came. While I was on the couch, he came in front of me and started talking to my baby and referring to himself as daddy. It was extremely embarrassing because everyone was looking and I was very pissed off. I told him to get the hell up and to stop touching me. My brother-in-law looked very embarrassed and my sister was very mad. They both left. After that, I went with my brother to get my clothes and everything from the house. I got a thread of text from my sister calling me an ungrateful "see you next Tuesday." She told me how I embarrassed her and brother-in-law. I asked some friends and they told me that I was in the wrong because my sister let me stay at her house rent-free, and some say that I'm not in the wrong. I honestly don't know and I need unbiased answers. I sometimes do say things unfiltered when I feel strong emotions, so this may be one of those situations. I just want to clarify some things. My baby's father does want to be in my baby's life, and we broke up a month before I found out I was pregnant. And yes, we are on good terms. He does live 2 hours away, though, so I don't see him 4 times a month. I understand now that their reasoning for wanting me to move in was creepy and a major red flag. But from my point of view, I just thought it was her wanting to see what pregnancy was like because she couldn't have kids. I was not planning to live there my whole pregnancy. It was only supposed to be for a month, and I would move back in with my parents. NTA, don't ever stay with them again. Your brother-in-law is way the hell out of line. Could be their infertility issues, or he could just be a weirdo. Either way, it would be a big no from me, dog. BTW, stop taking advice from friends that see nothing weird in this situation. They are clueless. I wouldn't ever let them babysit or even go near the baby. He sounds psycho enough to attempt to kidnap the baby and pretend it's theirs. OP, please save all messages and voicemails they send you and document everything. You may need it someday soon for a restraining order. And ask your baby's father, tell him everything that's been going on, if he's willing to do a paternity test the day the baby is born, so there is undeniable proof the baby is his in case your brother-in-law tries to claim he's the bio father to steal your baby. Might be overkill, but better safe than sorry. TA, and you weren't rude. Your brother-in-law was making you uncomfortable and hasn't been listening. This is not their baby. Make sure they and everyone else in your family knows that, because right now it seems like they think that you're their surrogate. I've seen far too many cases of family members believing their pregnant family member will become their surrogate and ending up trying to guilt trip them into giving up the baby, and or having the family believe it too and alienate them for being so mean as to deny them their child. I would make absolutely sure your entire family knows this is your baby and will not be given to them.